Welcome to Failing Forward, the podcast that gives you an exclusive look at what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur and unveils all the failures that happen along the way. Hi, I'm your host, Bethany Fiocchi-Root, and I'm a seasoned marketer with over 17 years of experience crafting powerful digital marketing programs. Ready to get the inside scoop you crave but hardly ever get? I know I am. Let's get started. In episode 1, I talk with Paul Scrivens and Marybeth Santos of Pocket Business and Odd Noodle. They're two businesses they run together that help people make money with digital products. I first came across Paul, who, by the way, often goes by the nickname Scrivs, in early 2018 when I started my first blogging business. He shocked me a little. He was real. He was down to earth. He's a real tells it like he sees it kind of guy. And he knew his stuff. My running blog took off quickly to the tune of 60,000 visitors per month and over $2,000 per month in ad revenue because I followed his methods. And my results are probably on the lower end of his successes. He's helped tons of people build successful online businesses. And since 2018, he's evolved way beyond blogging. He even expanded his team, which is where Marybeth fits in. And today, we get to hear their stories about entrepreneurship. All right, let's get started. So, welcome to the Failing Forward podcast. My name is Bethany Fiocchi-Root, and I'm here today with Paul Scrivens, owner of Pocket Business, and Marybeth Santos, owner of Odd Noodle. So, welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Great. How are you doing today?
I'm
Good.
I'm doing okay. If I can get my hat fixed properly. I have a funny shaped head, so getting anything on my head to look natural just doesn't work ever.
Is it that cold out there in Las Vegas?
It is like 30 degrees right now.
Oh,
That
that's
is
like what
actually
we
very
are.
cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, the hat makes sense now.
Yeah. So I apologize, everyone, but consider this my superpower hat. This is my business hat that helps me succeed in business. We'll
There
play it
you
like
go.
that.
I like
So-
that tip.
Okay.
I need a hat. All right. Awesome. So let's get started. First of all, kind of tell me, how do you two know each other?
I'll let you tell the story. Right, Beth.
So I can't remember anymore. 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago. I don't remember. I joined Scrivs' blogging course. And it was great, and it was the one thing that finally pushed me over the edge. But I was also, I didn't have a blog about blogging, but I started to really get into blogging about blogging and how to make money online and all of that stuff. And so I would pester Scrivs with questions constantly. And we had a community at that time, and I loved being in the community and helping other people. And so eventually Scrivs was like, I should probably hire this girl and pay her to help all these people. So that's how it all started. And it's, we've been friends and I guess business partners since then.
Yeah. She was my first ever hire for absolutely anything that I've ever done.
Yeah.
And what she was doing in the community, and I've never seen this before, she was literally in the community every single day, encouraging people, asking questions, answering questions, and I was like, who is this psycho who is spending all this time in my community? Does she not want to work on her own stuff? Why is she, but it was like cool, like this is good. And I was like, well, I'm never going to find anyone else like this ever again. So let me see if she wants to actually work for me.
I remember that. I was actually in that community at the time, and I think Marybeth helped me with a bunch of stuff, probably before she was even on the payroll.
That's what I'm saying. She was a
It's
beast
possible.
back then. She's a beast now, but she was a beast back then too. And I was like, this is truly impressive and everything.
That's great. Awesome. All right. Well, now fast forward a little bit to now. How about you give me a quick overview of what your businesses are and what you both do now and how you interact with each other. So, Scrivs, go first.
Yeah. So even though I say I'm the owner of Pocket Business and Marybeth says owner of Odd Noodle, we own all these things together. Essentially, what Odd Noodle is just helping people find the freedom that they're looking. The ones who show up to work, or that maybe they're not working, but they feel like there's something more they can be doing with their lives, with themselves. With the way the online world works, you see so many other people out there like doing wonderful things, and you're like, okay, that looks amazing. I want to be able to do what I want to do, but of course I have bills I need to pay. And so it's more about helping people use their passion or whatever they want to do and actually make it profitable. And one of the ways we do that is through teaching people how to create books. Obviously, we dive into funnels and other digital products, but we like to take it from this angle of we've been experimenting and screwing up a lot over the last decade, like a lot. And it teaches us things. A lot of the people that teach what we do, they come from the angle of, they started teaching people how to make money, so their success was right away. And so they take that approach of, it worked for me, it's going to work for you, but a lot of times it doesn't work for other niches. Because when you're dealing in the how to make money niche, it's a totally different beast, because everyone wants to learn how to make money, so you just go online and you say, I'm gonna help you make $10,000 a month. Everybody's gonna come up to you. But if you're trying to say, I'm going to help you grow tomatoes in your bathroom, that not everyone in the world wants to do that. So how do you find those right people and you get that right message across and you let them know that you're the right person for that kind of stuff? The distinction between Odd Noodle is more for the individuals who really want to go out on their own. But Pocket Business right now is going to be more of the full service. Maybe you're a coach and you're doing social media, but you want a blog set up, you want a site set up, you want all those things set up, but you're like, I just don't have time, or I just don't know how to do it. We come in and work behind the scenes and build all that stuff out for you.
That's great. And how does Maker's Mob fit into that mix?
It's just the umbrella.
The umbrella?
Yeah. It's just,
okay.
I've had that name forever.
Okay.
Because both Marybeth and I, we have so many different interests. We'll see something and be like, I'm interested in that. And because we are also business minded, we go, okay, how do we make money from that thing? And so we just spin off these different brands and everything. And I was like, okay, these kind of have to be housed under one thing.
Well, that makes sense. And it sounds like you are the perfect example of an entrepreneur. You have many, many ideas and sometimes go off in different directions with them. But it sounds like with Odd Noodle and Pocket Business, you've got things pretty well defined right now.
We like to think so, hopefully.
And while still leaving room for us to kind of scatter to our other things too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you always have to have a little leeway, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we have some totally non-business brands that we're also building out, and I like to justify it by saying, well, if we only talk about how to build business, then us teaching other people doesn't make sense if we don't do stuff outside of that as well and continue to see if our stuff works. So that's good and bad, because it does probably slow us down because we work on a lot of different things, but it also helps to always reinforce, is the stuff we're teaching people or the stuff that we're selling services on, does it work outside of the things that we do ourselves?
Well, that's a great idea, and then you can use that as proof and stats for the stuff that you're teaching. Makes total sense.
That's why you're the guru here, Bethany.
I'm interviewing you. You're the guru. The host. All right. Well, let's rewind and go back a little bit in time. So think back to when, you were first starting to think about your careers, or you were first starting to think about work. Did you always want to be an entrepreneur? Scrivs, I'll start with you.
No. Let Marybeth go first. Trust me. Her story's going to be way more interesting than mine.
Oh, I don't know. It'll probably be shorter. I can say definitively no. I did not ever have in mind that I was going to be an entrepreneur, and I still don't feel like I don't know, that word still kind of feel like, is that really me? I started with regular corporate jobs out of school, and my first, I think it's 13 years ago, was the first time I set up my own online business. I created a blog, and I literally worked on that for 5 years before I made any money. So not only did I not have it in my head before I started that I was going to be an entrepreneur, but for 5 years I was like, I'm not going to be this person that makes money online. I cannot figure this out. So no, from the beginning, no. But now, it's the thing, besides my family and my kids and all that stuff, it's the thing that I wake up thinking about, and I'm excited to come down and sit at my desk every day. So yeah,
great.
I guess I am now.
You are, absolutely. Own it.
Yeah. I think, and I've also Marybeth and I being part of the older crowd. So I'm an '80s baby, and the idea of entrepreneur.
I'm a '70s baby.
Right. So the idea of an entrepreneur is what back then was basically somehow you had a family with a lot of money and you started a physical business. Everything. So if you came to me and said, you can be an entrepreneur. I'd be like, whatever. I don't even know what that means, bro. And then the internet happened and everything. And my problem, it wasn't that I thought I was going to be an entrepreneur. My problem was I would work for other people, which I have no problem with. My problem is I always want to go out and do more for those people. Like, I'm like, okay, we have this idea. Let's run with this. We got to do this, And they're like, no, that's not how we do stuff here. Oh, no, you need to slow down. Or no, we get. And I'm like, what are you talking about? No, we can do that. Like, because I want to do stuff and everything. And you just keep on getting held back to the point where you become a disturbance. And everybody's like, okay, we love you. You're smart. You're brilliant. You're great around here. Well, we got to let you go.
Oh no.
Right. And that I've had 5 official 9-to-5 jobs. I quit one to move to another one. So then the other 4 I was fired from. And everything.
For that reason? Because
and that kind of let me know that maybe I should do my own thing. And so I kept on trying. I kept on trying. And it was more out of necessity because we live in a world where people want their money for the roof over your head and stuff like that. So it wasn't like me consciously going, you know what, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to start my own business. It was more like, no, I need to make money somehow and do something. And so, you just go and start trying stuff and, see what happens. And now we're here.
And do you remember the very first thing that you made money with?
Yes, I started a web design blog because I was interested in design and all that kind of stuff. So I figured I'd start a web design blog to help me learn web design. And I kind of have a very strong voice, if you didn't notice already. So it comes across in my writing as well. And so I write differently than a lot of people. And so it helped a lot of people gravitate towards me. And it made it seem like I was an authority on web design after like a month. And so people were like, I want you to design my site. And I was like, sure. And so like my first client, I think I charged like $200 and took me like 3 months to build their website. So, I mean, it came out to like, I was making like 25 cents an hour.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Cause I was like, holy crap, like people will pay me for something. And I think like, that's the kind of the weird fear, or people don't officially accept mentally for themselves that I can make this work until they make that first dollar. And that's what we always try to teach people. Like, making $10,000 a month is awesome, and we want everybody to make that and more. But that feeling is totally different than when you make that first dollar, right? Because you're like I knew this would happen, and I wanted this to happen, but like it happened, like
it like proves it, right?
Right.
It gives you that sense of, oh, okay, I do have a fit here. Wow, I can do this. This is awesome.
Exactly.
Oh, that's great. And Mary Beth, do you remember the first sale that you ever made?
I do. So the first money I ever made online was with my blog. I finally got ads on, and I was making a little bit of ad revenue every month. But my first sale was so my blog was about crafting and DIYs and stuff like that. And I created an ebook with my 10 favorite and all that stuff. And that was my first sale. Actually, my very first sale, I set it up to sell, and Scrivs bought a copy of it just to test and make sure it was working. But I had another sale after that too.
Did you do
I still get sales on that. What's that?
She asked if you do a happy dance, and I think we will still have random purchases, and it depends on the offer. Like we'll have a random purchase for something, and we'll be like, we sold something, right? And it'll be like $19 or like it won't be anything astronomical, but it's still that excitement of getting that notification.
Very powerful. Yes. And that's actually a great segue into the next question is, how did you go from that sort of service-based offering that you mentioned with the web hosting and the web design? How did you transition into digital products?
It honestly wasn't as hard as I probably should make it sound for people, because I came to the conclusion I'm a very selfish person in the sense of I want to spend my time doing things that I want to do. And so making money was more of a means to an end, to be able to have that freedom to do whatever I want whenever I want it. And so when you start doing things over and over again, you start noticing patterns of what you're doing. So we'll do web design as an example. If I was designing landing pages, after a time I would find a pattern like, okay, for some reason my landing pages always look this way, and this is what I always find successful with this landing page. So why not turn that into a product that anybody can do if they wanted to? And the scary part of that is, For a service, you can charge thousands of dollars for, because you're doing your time and everything. But when you're doing a product, depending on how simple it is, maybe you're charging only $99. And so that idea of like, oh, we could be making $5,000 doing this, or just $100, like, what's the fear here?
You mentioned fear, and the fear of going from one thing to another, maybe doing something different than what you were used to. Can you tell us a little, example or something that you can think of where you were really afraid of doing something along this journey and you kind of did it anyway, and how that ended up working?
That's a me question. 100%.
I was gonna say you should let her talk on this one.
I am like scared of every new thing, but the one that like really sticks out in my brain the most is starting TikTok. TikTok was like, I am never going to do video. It's not for me. I don't like it. I'm not doing it. Like some of the people that were learning from us took it upon themselves to go ahead and try TikTok, and they were really successful with it. But I still had like such a hard time thinking about being on camera and talking, and I had no idea how to do any of it. It took a lot for me to get over that. It was finally, my daughter asked me, my daughter took like a TV class in school, and she was like, we have to interview somebody. I want to interview you and talk to you about what you do for work. And I was like, oh, okay, how can I say no to my daughter? So that was like my first real time being on video. And that was good preparation for me to finally be like, okay, I'm going to hop on TikTok. And I was so petrified. Now it is probably one of my favorite things to do. And I'm on it every single day. So
that's great.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so jealous of the younger generations now, because they're pretty much growing up around video and everything. So it's like very natural for a lot of them. I'm not saying for a lot of them. And with us, it was business. Business was, okay, I'm starting a website. I got over that fear. Oh, now I got a blog and people are going to read my blogging. Okay, I'm really scared to publish anything. Oh, now they want me to send emails. I'm terrified of sending emails. Oh, now I got to try to sell a product I'm terrified of selling. Oh, now they want me to do video too. And so it's like, if you've been in this long enough, it's like all these different layers you have to keep on going through. And the scary part is, I think as adults, we get very comfortable when we get really good at something. And we're like, okay, I'm good at this. Just let my life be like this. But then when you have to try something new, it's like, nope, you got to start from scratch all over again. You're a kid all over again to learn this, everything. And I think that's what that fear and hesitation comes from for a lot of people, where it's like, do I have to work through this all over again? So the fear, the funny thing, the fear for me is I fear selling. Like I absolutely hate it, because I hate the idea of me saying, I'm offering this wonderful thing to you, and there's this fear of you going, that thing sucks. I don't want that thing, so I'm not going to buy it from you. And so it's this weird rejection fear that I have.
Has anybody actually said to you, no, this product sucks, I won't buy it?
No. After all these years, Marybeth might have a better memory.
I can't really remember any harsh feedback. It's always the opposite. I think the way that we do things, where we are super involved, interested in how people are doing, just naturally the feedback that we get is usually positive.
That's great. Sounds like, you get a lot of positive feedback because you have a lot of successful products, but that kind of leads me to the question and, kind of the topic of this podcast that I've been going for, is really trying to learn and understand any failures that have happened along the way to success and to those successful products. So I'm going to ask, the big question. Hopefully you thought about it a little bit before coming here. What is your biggest failure that you've had, and what did you learn from that experience along the way?
Do you want to go?
Yeah.
I have a laundry list, unfortunately.
All right, I'll do one and you can do the laundry list. My biggest failure was back when I first started, like literally first started. I would start and give up and start and give up. I would get so frustrated that I wasn't getting where I wanted to be. Not just months, like it was years that I would just keep trying something and it wouldn't work. And I'd try something else and it wouldn't work. I would spend a bunch of money on a course and it still didn't work. And instead of saying like, okay, what's the next thing to try? I would literally just give up, and like for 6 months, 6 months, I wouldn't look at anything. And that's the one thing that I look back on. And I wish that I didn't let the fact that one thing didn't work, I wish that it didn't make me kind of actually give up for that long period of time. Every time something wouldn't work, I would come back to, you're just not cut out for this. And looking back, that's the one thing that I really wish I could have kind of pushed past that thought more quickly than the 3 to 6 months it usually took me.
But that bug sits in you. And that's why we try to tell people.
No,
Once that bug of, no, I need to be able to do my own thing or even build my own thing, and figure it doesn't leave.
No.
Mine is kind of like a lesson overall, and it's two of them. One is definitely what Mary Beth was saying, is just a lack of consistency of doing something. The other one was not understanding what was making me successful at different parts of my life and everything. And my life could be seen like in peaks and valleys of, I am dead broke, holy crap, I got a lot of money. Oh, dead broke, holy crap, I got a lot. And so each time I'd make a lot of money, it was always like, oh, I could just do that again, without me sitting back and analyzing, like, no, like, why did this thing work right here? And once you understand why it works, and going, okay, well, now let me put this into my system and just apply it every single day and just be consistent of it, then I will have no more valleys.
Can you share some of those learnings that you may have gotten?
Yes.
Even if it's just like a high level,
I will.
Those things that helped with your success?
So when Mary Beth joined me, she was talking about the blogging course. I had the Billionaire Blog Club. Huge success. And it was one of those things where people were finding me, they were coming to my blog post and they were finding me through Pinterest. And it was back then where everyone who was blogging was saying the exact same stuff. I started blogging and I was writing kind of, not the opposite, but it was contrarian in a way where people were like, see, I knew all those other people, something was wrong because I was following those other people and it wasn't working, but you said this and that makes sense, so I'm going to do things. And so I think the final time it was on sale, we made $140,000 in 7 days.
Wow.
Which should be the sign of, okay, now you're on a path to making $10 million a year. But I got very complacent and just assumed that, okay, now that a success is there, and it feels like when you make that kind of money, it feels like you didn't really put too much effort into it. Like, it's hard to look back at everything that you did and put that into like a single frame of like, no, this is everything you did and it worked hard to build this. I got complacent with continuously getting myself out there, bringing in new people, letting people know, what I'm doing, and just continuously building an audience. Is we don't build a business in a vacuum. You're building a business around a million other people who are trying to do the exact same thing as you. So if you're the one, I like to equate it to like driving on an interstate. You're not the only one on interstate. If you just stop on the side of interstate, cars are going to pass you. And then you're going to look up one day and go, wait, like, I started in Florida, but I'm only in Missouri. Why is the person that started later than me in California? Like, how'd they get that far? And it's because they're always out there, they're moving. And that's kind of a tough lesson that I've had to keep on iterating to myself over and over again. Everything I teach is through my own failures.
That's great, though, that you were learning that over time. So it sounds like complacency and not consistently building an audience, and maybe a part in there of not reassessing what's working and trying new things along the way as well.
Yeah, I think, Mary Beth, I think we had this talk yesterday or the day before, where I said I was watching a YouTube video because my side thing is I'm trying to learn how to draw, which I don't really have time to learn, but I'm trying to learn anyways. And I was watching this artist, and he said one of the hidden skills of an artist that a lot of artists don't have is being able to take a step back and critique themselves, everything. And I was telling Mary Beth, I think that's for a business owner, that's one of the hardest things, is not criticize yourself like I suck and all, but take a step back, look at your business and be like, okay, if someone else was looking at this, what is the obvious thing they would tell me that I'm missing? What is the thing I'm failing at? But I think we're a lot better now, taking a step back and like, no, like this is where we're missing. We're missing this part, and so we need to do better, being consistent on this or working on this and improving on this.
And that's interesting because I think over time, some people either have a tendency to never do that or do it too often. Yeah. Do you have a point of view on what the right frequency of self-evaluation or business evaluation is?
One of the things that has helped us is following some of the philosophy behind the 12-week year, where it's essentially, we would like this thing to happen. What do we think is going to make this happen? It's these series of tasks that we have to do. And so it's just us focusing on a series of tasks for 3 months. So for example, for this quarter, we have a number of different tasks, but one of the tasks, you can tell me if I'm wrong here, Mary, but like one of the tasks might be getting 100 blog posts up on our site in these 3 months. and everything. And so instead of us going, are we doing the right thing, or is it working and everything? It's like, no, just focus on getting those 100 blog posts up. And then that's when we're able, okay, we get to check that off. We did those 100 blog posts. Now we can take a step back and go, okay, let's see if it worked or not. Let's see what didn't work. And so I think in the online world, that's what a lot of you have to do. So Marybeth was talking about TikTok, and people they get crazy about TikTok, and they're like, I did 5 videos. Like, why is it not working? It's like, no, like sit down and just go, I'm going to do 100 videos. I'm doing 100 TikTok videos. I'm sure I'm going to look at my numbers because I just can't help it, but I'm not going to overanalyze everything to the point where I'm switching things up every single second.
And I like the idea of what you said right before too, is in order to kind of work towards that and not get too discouraged along the way, or to look at your stats too frequently, to do it almost in sprints. I like that idea a lot. Then you can kind of accomplish enough and learn enough along that process to doing whatever it is, that task you're trying to do, whether it's writing blog posts, putting out TikToks, videos, whatever it is, that you can kind of learn enough along the way, at least to feel comfortable being like, okay, well, this thing is working a little bit. Let me do a little more of that while still accomplishing the task and not getting too frustrated.
Right. Because Marybeth and I were both neurodivergent in our own special ways. And so it's like, we kind of have to, at least I should speak for Marybeth. I have to work in sprints with certain things. Like, but if you told me, okay, no, you have to write a blog post every single day for the rest of the year, that would not happen with me. But if you're like, you need to write 365 blog posts this month, I'm like, done. I'll get it done, because I can work in those chunks. I can put my interest into those chunks and knock them out. But other people might be able to say, no, I can do this one same thing consistently throughout the day, every single day of the year. I can't do them. I like to think Marybeth's like that, or maybe she's pretending to be just like me to make me feel better. But
I need like short sprints. I am a big Pomodoro person. I'll have when I have a day where I feel like I cannot focus to get anything done, that is the only thing that helps me get anything done. I'll set a timer for 25 minutes and I'll be like, I'm just going to write this for 25 minutes. And I will literally all day long just keep resetting that timer and get whatever I can done. So a month-long sprint is probably even too long.
Yeah,
for me.
I was just saying, I would not advise anybody to try to do a month-long. But going to the Pomodoro aspect, and one of the things that has helped us, because we've been doing this for so long, is it's very easy to think when you need to build a successful online business that there's a million things that you need to do and everything, right? There's this laundry list of things I have to do. And what it really comes down to is once you get the foundation, like, you might say, I have to build a website, and like there's certain tasks that are one-off. We call them one-off tasks, like get your logo, build your website, maybe set up an email funnel. Like those are like one-off tasks. Once those are done, it's not that they're done, but you can put them on a shelf and you can look at them later and everything. And then there's those evergreen tasks that you have to do every day. I think a lot of people would be surprised that the list of evergreen tasks that you have to do every single day to grow your business is very small. Like it's super, super small. And so when Marybeth goes, I'm gonna do a Pomodoro, I know that, in that 25 minutes, she can get one of those tasks done. And that could be like it for the day if she wanted it to be. And so I just wanted to point that out for a lot of people who think, oh my God, like there's so much I have to do. Everything. And yeah, at the beginning, there's always a ton. It's like moving into a house. Like when you move into a house, yeah, there's a ton you have to do. But once you get all the furniture and it's decorated and everything, then it's like, okay, like what's the evergreen stuff? Just make sure I tidy up.
Vacuum.
Yeah. Like it's that kind of stuff. So.
No, that's great. That makes sense.
That's a great analogy, actually.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. And then one day, if I talk to one of you, you'll be like, remember that time you said this? And I'll be like, no. But I'm glad I said it.
Left an impression or not. Speaking of impressions, I was thinking about this earlier, Mary, about that and just it goes along with, I think, a lot of what you both have been talking about in business and your learnings and stuff, but that building an online business is simple, but not easy, right?
It's true. And we kind of don't want to think that it's simple because you try so hard and it doesn't work and you're like, this just must be really hard. But there are just like very simple steps that you have to take. I had somebody reach out to me on TikTok the other day and she was like, I am just so overwhelmed. I wrote my book and I'm not getting any sales and I don't know, I have no idea. Like we have so many different voices in our heads, especially if you're somebody that's on TikTok or any social media. You hear so many people telling you so many different things. And I know this person is one of those people because she would come to my lives and be like, well, someone said this and someone else said that. And I'm like,
the worst.
To so many people.
The worst.
Yeah. So I was like, you have your book like that. She wrote her ebook. That is like one of the two parts that you really need in order to make any money. She had a product to offer to people. I gave her two things: get it set up to sell, because she didn't have it set up to sell yet. So that's one of those one-off things that once you have that done, it's done, and you put that link in your profile, and now your only job is to start creating videos. This was the second thing I told her: start creating videos that are going to talk about that, and just do those two things for the next 30 days or whatever. I think if you can pick one or two things to focus on, that's when you're like, oh, it is kind of simple. But when you've got a million voices in your head, or you are right at the beginning and you're like, I have so many things to set up, it does feel like it's just so much to do.
Right. Mm-hmm. The thing with the simple and complex is, like we tell people, the formula for business is simple. It's audience times offer equals money. That's all you need. You need an audience, you need an offer. Like every business in the world, that's all it is. And so the complex part, though, is you can say, well, I have this book and nobody's buying it. Why is nobody buying it? Is it because I don't have this funnel set up correctly? And it's like, no, a lot of people usually have all the things set up correctly. It's that emotional element that a lot of people are missing in today's online space, where they're not able to make a connection in some way, everything. And because of that, people don't want to buy. And I think that differs from business in the past, where business in the past was very utilitarian in that, I want a pizza, you sell pizza, I'll buy the pizza from you. But like online business, when we're talking to people, they're going, okay, well, you do the same thing 5 other people do things. So why do I need to pay attention to you though? And so that's where things get complex with businesses. How do you get people to pay attention to you and know that you're the person for them? And through the people we help, we see like that's the biggest struggle and everything. Because again, like creating a book or whatever digital product or service, not a problem. Creating a sales page, not a problem. Getting online, creating content, not a problem. But is all that stuff making that human connection that differentiates you from the next person, and really is the reason why people buy?
You ever experienced a time where you had trouble making that connection with your audience?
Yes.
Yeah.
You look at you had it.
Yes.
If you have an example off the top of your head, go for it.
Actually, when I first started TikTok, like you're just, maybe not everybody, I was definitely kind of like stiff and didn't know how to be myself on camera. It's still something that I struggle with. The way that I kind of have cheated and overcome that a little bit is by doing lives, because when you're live, there's no, someone asks a question, you gotta just come up with the answer. There's no rehearsing or anything like that. I have a hard time with that, creating that kind of emotional connection through video. But yeah, lives definitely helped me a lot with that.
It's funny because I'm kind of the opposite, in the sense of I'm good with the emotional connection, but only because my personality is my personality. So it's like either you like me or you don't like me. But when you like me, then we have that gravitation. But the problem I have is, and this was the same problem I had when I used to do job interviews, is I start going back towards the middle of like, no, okay, if I want to get more people, if I calm it down and I talk a certain way and I do a certain thing, then I'll attract more people and everything. And then I do that so much, I begin to lose my essence. And then I go, why is this not working? And it's like, well, if I was giving myself advice, then I would say, because you have no personality, you're not showing the things that would connect people to you. Like,
you went vanilla.
Right. You're comparing, you're doing a thing that you tell people not to do, because you get nervous of, oh my God, like, am I being so extreme that I'm pushing people away? And the fact is, in today's world, it's not that you have to be extreme is probably the wrong word, because it makes people think they have to go crazy, but you have to lean into what makes you you. And you have to lean into your opinions, your perspectives, your worldviews, and trust that there are enough people in the world that gravitate towards that will help you sustain and build a business and everything. And what I found more is that the more of myself, I don't get large viral numbers and everything, but I do get more people going, thank you for showing up. Thank you for being different.
And from the selling perspective, it can be just as effective. I mean, going viral can bring in a lot of people, but probably not the right people. But your approach that you were just talking about, you're bringing in the right people that will probably then buy from you and repeat buy from you and love your products and talk about them and tell people about them.
Right. I don't know if we would call this a mistake. I'll let Marybeth say if it was a mistake, but like two years ago, I quit doing this. Like I just quit. Because we had this audience of people that I truly wanted to help them. Marybeth truly wanted to help them. And we kept on saying like things were changing in the online space. This is where you should go with things. And they were refusing. They were like, no, we like things the way they are. This is how they should be. We're not going to do that. And so I got so emotionally drained from it of like, I'm trying to help you. Why aren't you listening to me? Why don't you just do this thing that I'm trying to help you with? And we use the analogy of, people are drowning. We're throwing you life vest and you're swimming away. You're swimming away from all that stuff. But you're still screaming like, help me, help me. And we're like, no, we're trying to, and you're not doing it. And so I stepped away from it. And in that time period, what I realized was if I was going to be happy building any type of business, it has to be with people that I want to work with and the people that I want to talk to every day. And so the only way that I can make that happen is just to continue to be myself and talk the way I talk. And you'll see in Marybeth's content, a lot of what she talks about is, okay, like first the people have to be aligned with you, and then you have to make sure that they're willing to spend money with you and all that kind of stuff. And it was just stressful and draining, and it was killing me. So I stepped away.
And so when you came back, it sounds like you pivoted a little bit, at least from an audience targeting perspective. Is that accurate?
Yes, but it was also that kind of understanding of myself, of I understand how I work now. And I always say like building a business is the greatest therapy session you can do. Like if you want to learn about yourself, build a business, because you will learn your fears, your doubts, your insecurities. You will learn all of that by trying to build a business. And some people can't take it. And that's why I think a lot of people quit, because they'll say, this isn't for me. I couldn't get people to, it's like, no, it could be for you, but you kept on running away from yourself. And because you kept on running away from yourself, you couldn't make it happen. But yes, from an audience standpoint, Marybeth and I, we do have a better idea of like, okay, we can't talk to this person. No, we can't talk to this person. They can listen to us, but we're not going to talk to you.
Makes sense.
And everything.
So you are being more authentic, and you are being a little more stringent in the way that you are talking to people, kind of specifically trying to make sure that you're targeting the people that are the right customers for you, as opposed to trying to cast a giant net that captures everybody, including people who may not be the right people for you.
Correct.
Well, this has been absolutely amazing, and you have given some amazing advice, and I so appreciate you sharing some of these, failures or challenges and learnings that you've had along the way, because I think it's really going to resonate with a lot of people listening. So I have one last question. You may each have your own definition, but I'm very curious, is currently right now in your life, in your business, what is your personal definition of success?
For me, it's just being able to wake up every single day and get to decide what I want to do. Like nobody else decides it. Nothing. It's just me being able to wake up and just go, this is exactly what I'm going to do today. And that's it for me. Essentially.
Freedom.
Yeah.
That's great. Marybeth?
Yeah, obviously, like having that freedom to, like, I've had a rough couple of months, and I've had the freedom to be like, I need to go do this thing for these people. Like, that's super important. Obviously, there's an amazing feeling when you make money from something that you created yourself. But I will add on to those two things, because those are 1 and 2, obviously. But there's almost nothing that makes me feel better than when someone comes back to me and is like, I listened to what you said and I did it and it worked. I sold the thing or I finished it. That is such a great feeling. And so I would put those as top 3.
You're a helper. You like helping people.
I do. I really do. I get a kick out of it.
That's why in the past I was like, should I tell them that their advice helped me? Yeah, they probably heard from me a million times, but I'm going to tell them anyway.
Which is one of the annoying things about what we do, is that people will go, I didn't want to bother you, but yeah, I'm making like $20,000 a month. And we're like, why didn't you tell us? And they're like, oh, because you've got so many people talking to you. And we're like, no, nobody talks to us. Nobody tells us anything.
We want to hear.
We need to know if our stuff is working for you. We know it works for us, but is it working for you? Like real quick, we were talking to someone the other day, and they were like, wow, you're just so successful. I wish I had everything you had. And I'm like, I don't see myself as successful at all. What are you talking about? But I can't say that out loud to them.
And I've talked to a lot of small business owners and entrepreneurs lately, and it seems to be a common sentiment that none of them actually feel like they've achieved the success that they had in their head, even if many of these people, including you, like very successful people by all rights. But there's something I think that drives entrepreneurs to always want to go to that next level. And so we're not always amazing at stepping back and even, feeling comfortable in the current level of success that we're having. Right. Have you ever felt like that?
I think success, the problem with success feels like an endpoint. And when you're an entrepreneur doing this, like there's no endpoint for us technically, right? Mm-hmm. Because we'll go, well, how much further can we push it? And that's what Marybeth and I are always doing every single day is like, how much further can we push this thing? So there's no endpoint of us going, oh, well, we made it. It's like, no, like what else can we further do to help people? Like what's the next thing that we can do? Because that's just how our brains are wired.
I like that thought though, because it feels like it's more of a journey than an endpoint. And I think that's true for a lot of entrepreneurs, that it is more about the journey. And so, one thing that I've challenged myself in the past to do is to be more reflective in having at least checkpoints along the way so that I can celebrate the successes without just continuing on the journey, constantly going after like the carrot dangling in front of my face, so that I can feel some semblance of that moment of success, even if it passes quickly and I move on to the next thing.
Right. Like I'll tell Marybeth all the time, like, oh, like you've grown so much since we first met. And she'll just look at me like, you're an idiot. Like, what are you talking about? Like I just did what I did and everything. And I think I could be wrong. She could be like gloating in the background. Like, yeah, like I feel like I know I'm the shit now and everything. Like that's how she feels. I don't know.
I wish. No. I wish I was like that. I struggle with that a lot. I'll be happy for a little bit, and then because something went well, and then I almost immediately am like, but we could have, like, what else could we have done? I start almost immediately thinking about how to make things better. And I used to think that was a really bad thing. But there's a quote from Bob Proctor: dissatisfaction is a creative state. And so now I kind of like welcome that feeling of like, all right, good job on that, but here's how it could be better for next time.
I like that. That's actually a perfect note to end on. Thank you so much.
I won the podcast.
See? She goes in the background. I knew she did that. I knew she did that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much to both of you. I really appreciate your time today. Everything you said was very insightful, and it was great to get an inside view into your everyday lives and some of the experiences that you have both had. So I thank you, and I hope you both have a great day.
Oh, thank you. This was a blast.
Thank you.
I had a great time.
It was fun.
We should do this every other day. Hit us up.
That'd be a lot of podcast content. All right. Awesome. Well, I will talk to you both soon. Hi, I'm back. I want to say a couple of things before we close out the first episode. First, I'm embracing imperfection and the concept of learning as I go, because that's all part of growing in business, right? And it's the whole point of this podcast, that you could be successful even if things aren't always perfect. I'm not gonna lie, I spent hours, like literally hours, over the last 2 weeks editing this first episode. I wanted it to be perfect, but I'm not a podcast editor. I've never done this before. So there's a learning curve. Luckily, the content itself was great. Thank you, Scrivs and Marybeth. But I know the editing was choppy. Stick with me. It'll get better. Second, I loved this way more than I expected, and I can't wait to do it again. I have 4 exciting guests already scheduled in the next few weeks, so please subscribe to stay updated on new episodes. And do you or someone you know have a captivating entrepreneurial journey to share? Shoot me an email at failingforwardpodcastguest@gmail.com or reach out on Instagram to failingforward_podcast. Until then, keep on keeping on. You got this.